The world is changing faster than ever. What used to take decades is now taking years or even months.
What you see right now is the illusion that people have had for many decades about the workplace being this secure place to work the rest of us.
We've seen our friends get laid off. We've been laid off. We've had our pay cut.
People are overworked and underpaid. They seem to have less time and less freedom. They live under constant pressure.
This is going to be forced. And so even if your employer loves you, they may have to cut you.
Is accelerating, job security is declining. It just doesn't seem like the old models of making a living are as reliable as they used to be.
Every aspect of our lives, there's a better way out there, but we're still doing it the old.
Like everyone's whining about this old model, and I'm like, why don't you leave it? Look at all this over here. Look at all this opportunity.
Since so much of our lives revolve around our work and the way we make our living, many people are thinking there just has to be a better way.
The biggest challenge facing our world today is not making money, is what are we going to do with all the displaced, unemployed people?
People are afraid that they're going to make the wrong decision. People are afraid of the unknown. People are afraid that maybe I don't have the skill.
What worked for previous generations isn't working as well for people today. In this film, we're going to explore 3 important questions. First, what's really going on in our working world today? Second, in this new economy, is it better to become an entrepreneur, or is it safer to work for someone else? And third, if a person decides to become an entrepreneur and start their own business, how can they do it without taking on massive risk? My intention is to give you new information that will allow you to make choices that are not limited by an old, outdated model.
On a global basis, everything is being turned upside down because of the rapidly advancing technologies. They are eliminating many jobs, and we have been left with many people not prepared for the jobs that exist.
A lot of demand in public companies was to squeeze out all the fat and to get just as much margin as we possibly could, and fat equals humans.
So this idea of job security in information age is so obsolete, but it's still taught inside our school system, and that's where the problem starts. There's no financial education in the school system, and people are still trained to be employees to work for that paycheck.
Today, if you're going to control your future, the 40-40 plan is gone, where you can graduate from college and get a job and work for 40 hours a week for 40 years. That day is gone.
So some of these charts actually tell you what's going on. And this is a really interesting one, you know. People are going back to school because if I go back to school, I'll get a nice job. But this is what's happening to, it's called Sallie Mae, which is the student loan guys. Student loan is going through the roof. It's now over $1 trillion, and student loan debt is worse than credit card debt. So when people stopped using credit card, the government got people into student loan debt. And the problem with student loan debt is you can never be forgiven. See, with credit card debt, you can declare bankruptcy and then all's forgiven. But student loan debt, you can declare bankruptcy, you still owe it. It's the worst of all debt.
It's time to look in the mirror and say, it's not the economy, it's my economy. It's my little world of where I am. I need to improve. I'm not going to wait for the economy to come back, because frankly, the economy is doing great in this country.
Think about the great entrepreneurs. They're visionary. They have heart. They're willing to do today what others won't so they can do tomorrow what others can't.
Personally, I don't think of the new economy, the old economy. I create my own economy. The entrepreneur's in control. I decide what the economy is going to be like.
In the world of entrepreneurship, there are no limits. You can make as much as you want, depending on how much you want to work and how smart you are and how great a team you put together.
There's no more lifetime rewarding business than being an entrepreneur.
Why in America, where anyone could be anything, would people want to give up their freedom and become effectively a modern-day slave, told shut up and be here every morning at 7:30, leave at 5:30, and do what I tell you?
If people decide to become an entrepreneur and work for themselves, they have some traditional options, but they're riskier than you might think.
Any kind of a retail business, retail build-outs, is extremely expensive. Even just these small little yogurt stores where they're putting little yogurt machines and you get all the different flavors, you're spending $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to open a yogurt shop.
I would love to buy a Dunkin' Donuts, but it's $500,000 or so to start. I don't quite have that just-in-case money.
Risking lose it all, and most guys do 2 or 3 times, and even big guys like Branson, because I'm such a fan of his, half his companies don't work. If you make $1 million, your problems are going to go. If you make $1 billion, your problem's really going to go. Just the opposite. You and I know when you're making $1 million, you get $1 million responsibilities. You make $1 billion, you got 1,000 times $1 million responsibilities.
And most people say, I'd love to be my own boss. 70% of Americans would love to be their own boss, according to recent polls. But they don't know how to get there. Because what are you going to do? One, you could buy an existing business. If somebody's selling an existing business, you have to ask why. Usually because it's probably hard. It's probably not making as much money as they hope. 2, they could buy a franchise. A little less risk, proven system, but it's expensive to be able to do that. 3, they could start something from scratch. And that's where a lot of people feel like, I don't have the chops to do it. I don't have the money. I don't have the product idea. I don't have the expertise. I don't have whatever it's going to take to be able to get there, and I can't risk my family to do it. So, 4th, they could become an investor. A lot of people in this town invest to try and figure out a way, but you got to be pretty smart with that game too, right?
Venture capitalists, who are the very best and most sophisticated in investing in new breakthrough businesses, make it on 1 out of 11. That means 10 out of 11 are mediocre or fail. Most of them fail. That's the risk there. An angel investor is lucky to get 1 out of 15 or 20.
I think the bottom line for the 4 traditional options is they take money, sometimes a lot of it. They take expertise, and they take time. All of that adds up to just too much risk, most people.
I bought a business from somebody else, and it was a lot of work. And you start wondering, what did I just buy? Because I guess ultimately I own your email list, and I just overpaid for it.
People that start their own business, they spend a lot of money, they spend a lot of time, a lot of effort to get things started. And the more you invest on the upfront, the harder you typically work at it.
Well, I can tell you what the success rate is of a restaurant.
What is it?
They're crazy enough. About 90% of them fail.
About 90%, in how quickly?
Year or less.
Wow.
And if we're talking non-franchise, we're talking franchise,
Sure.
That's totally different.
Yeah.
But our students
invested big money.
Exactly. And with someone like McDonald's, you've had to work with the company for a long period of time, really know the
Even have a chance at investing $1 million.
have a chance, and it's a slim chance.
What if there was a way that you had all the proven aspects, the comfort aspects, and you could still control your own life? What if there was both? In other words, you didn't have to create everything from scratch. You didn't have to be a super leader. All you had to do, what if there was a proven product already? You didn't have to create the product. And there's a proven system already, proven training already. Everything except an employer. That was the only thing that you didn't have. Do you think more people would be open to working for themselves in that environment? In our search for a better way to make a living, we've come to the conclusion that becoming an entrepreneur is actually safer than being an employee. And through our look at the entrepreneurial options, one particular path kept coming up from expert after expert. And I think most people will find it surprising because it's certainly a non-traditional business model.
You really have no excuse not to be successful. You just don't. People don't want to hear that.
Nothing happens until something moves. So you got to go move, you got to go do something, or nothing's going to change in your life.
Life's too short to spend it living someone else's dream instead of your own. It's too short to spend it living at a fraction of your potential. Can being an entrepreneur be a challenge at times? Sure. But here's what you get in exchange. It can be yours. Something that you built, something that you created, something that you made happen. This balloon represents your dream. It represents entrepreneurship. My wish for all of you is that you would reach out and grab it. The choice is up to you.